Story 1. That my demands of life outweigh my mental capacity, but I have no choice, so I just walk around like an exhausted robot doing everything to keep what I have. Lost myself long ago. Story 2. What's killing my heart is seeing people struggle in silence, carrying burdens that no one knows about. It's the way pain isolates and hardens us, making it difficult to reach out even when we need help the most. Story 3. Where to begin? The feeling of never being good enough to provide a decent life for my family. The fact that I feel stuck in a job I do not want to do for the next 30 years of my life. That I have pretty much lost all passion for my hobbies and no longer have the drive to be creative. I just feel hopeless. Story 4. My wife might get divorced because she cheated on me and I forgave her and took her to therapy sessions. But she couldn't accept her mistakes. So she told her parents that I'm suspecting her and torturing her. She took my kids and I've not seen them for a month. Story 5. I found 2 kittens outside. Their mother had abandoned them. I only realized this 2 days later when the runt of the kittens was dead. I got way too attached to this other kitten and decided I wasn't going to let her die. She was pure and deserved to have a life. I took her inside and fed her several times a day. She explored inside and out, and she loved to perch on my neck and purr in my ear. She was happy and she seemed fine. I found her this morning lethargic and barely meowing, which is a red flag because she usually meows a lot when she sees me until I let her out or she tries to climb me. I tried to feed her, but she was barely eating anything. I was hoping that some formula would revive her. Then I tried to rub honey in her mouth. I read that her sugar level might be low. She died while I was feeding her. She had such a short time here, and it was ripped away from her. I was probably the reason her mother left. I was probably the reason those kittens died. This happened yesterday. Story 6. You ever felt guilty for not being happy? Like you have a good job, a good place you can call your own, you're relatively young and healthy. Your family is doing well. You even have friends and can afford cool stuff regularly. So many people have it much worse than I do, and the problems I can pin down are so insignificant compared to trouble I'm not having. I must be happy, and yet I am not. Story 7. Trying to apologize to someone for being irritable, because life is just hard right now as I'm dealing with burnout and depression, only to be told that I'm just making it hard for myself. Like, thanks, definitely not the same thing I've been told before, making me feel like my thoughts and feelings aren't valid. Too sensitive, too emotional, grow a thicker skin, don't worry so much, you're overreacting. My heart hurts and I'm tired. Story 8. The lack of affection between me and my brothers. It was rough growing up, and we're all in contact, but there's a clear lack of affection and proximity. I'm closer to some friends than to them. It breaks my heart. Story 9. Being the default parent or spouse, then going from a stay-at-home mom for 1 year to working and having to put your child into daycare. I feel like I've failed at being able to stay home and take care of him. But we also need money to survive. Either way, in my heart and mind, it feels like a loss. I also carry the burden of knowing how everything in the house has to be, and when I delegate and it's not done right after a few times, I take it back. I never get a break and it sucks. Story 10. My best friend's wife, who is also my good friend of 13 years, committed suicide. He lost both his dogs and his wife in just 5 months. I'm heartbroken for him and the loss of a friend. Story 11. My breakup after 15 years. I didn't see it coming. Nothing bad ever happened. He just decided he loved me but wasn't in love anymore after a 6-month period of him being severely depressed. We are still very much a part of each other's lives and care for each other a lot. 3 kids. 2 not biologically his, but he brought them up and is their dad, and a grandchild together. He told me a month ago he's with someone else. They have a long-distance relationship, and he thinks he loves her. He's been with her for 3 months. It's all killing me. It's the trouble of understanding what is going on and how he can feel like that so soon when we are still so close. The worst part is that we and 2 of our kids are going on a holiday in 2 days. Story 12. Hopelessness. The Russian invasion of my country seems to be endless. My job is good and the payment is also good. But because of the war, the actual value of that money is about 0. It will either be taken from me or just burned because of inflation. I've been lonely for many years. to the extent that I don't even want to go out or see people. I have no understanding of where I want to live my whole life and no way to start looking for the place. I've lost interest in gaming, continuously buying new games and dropping them within hours. I still can't say goodbye to my dog, which died in 2019. Story 13. My mother passed. Then my stepdad passed. My brother does not speak to me because of the will. Then my mom's cat passed. I had a car accident and I cannot work anymore. My husband divorced me. My heart was dead from loneliness. I cried all the time. And then I got a dog. Story 14. Every day in Western societies like Australia and America, people are kidnapped and tortured. It's insane to me how cruel people can be. It's like that scene in Family Guy where the guy in jail realizes, oh, I've been doing that to people. I belong here. People don't realize just how it feels and have zero empathy for their victims. It really bothers me knowing it happens, and there isn't much we can do about it. Story 15. My dad was told today that his cancer trial isn't working, and it's basically time to get comfortable. The sadder part is that my family has been asked to keep this extremely private. My dad has been battling cancer for almost 5 years now, and the only people I can talk to about it are my sister and her husband, my wife, and my mother and father. It's been getting lonely and feels like a vicious cycle. Sometimes I just want to scream out in a crowd, "My dad is dying of cancer," but I can't because I don't want to break the promise we all made to our father. Life sucks, dude. Story 16. Seeing my religion of Judaism weaponized to justify a genocide. I learned as a Jew that never again means never again for anybody. And I'll be damned if I'll be silent or complicit during a genocide. Story 17. Feeling unloved romantically. I have friends, a good career, plenty of hobbies, I exercise regularly, and have my own place. By all measures, I'm adulting right, but I'm just so tired of the grind. There aren't many men in my area, and fewer women are interested in dating monogamous bisexual men. I feel there's this goodness karma belief where people think if you're struggling to find love, you must be doing something wrong, or that if you're not successful, then you're actually secretly bad. Story 18. The person I love disappeared a long time ago. He basically doesn't exist anymore, at least not in any way in my life. That's pretty hard to take, but at least the memories of the person I care for are so old, I can just accept that person isn't around anymore. It makes it a little easier to walk away and move forward. Thinking about it hurts physically and overwhelmingly, but it's easier to know he doesn't exist anymore. But today I'm suffering. Story 19. Watching my 3-year-old melt down every time she has to go to her dad's, just so he can put her in daycare while he gets tattoos. No wonder she doesn't want to go. Story 20. The status quo of the world we live in. I want to do good and be okay. It feels like you need to be really lucky, take advantage of other people, or just suffer until you die. Knowing this is the case at all, regardless of where I sit, breaks my heart. Story 21. Being left behind. I fully understand nothing in life is guaranteed, and that includes friendships and how long we have them, but it still hurts to see so many people I cared deeply for move on. They are on to great things with great people, and I'm not stuck in place in life either, but it still hurts. Story 22. Last night, our dog threw up, and I went to clean it up. I asked my husband where the disinfecting wipes were, and he went on a loud rant about how lazy and entitled I am, and how I can't do this one thing without bothering him. Our 7-year-old daughter was there, and I kept asking him to stop this in front of her, and he wouldn't. I just cleaned it up and went to bed, resigned until he barged in 10 minutes later to continue to harp about how I'm not a supportive partner. I was too defeated to even argue. We're supposed to start marriage counseling tomorrow, but I'm just wondering what the point is, and just very mournful of my marriage in general. Story 23. My job. I work in social services and am tired of so many of my clients struggling so much, and there is such a frustrating lack of resources. It's just a downer of a job every day. Story 24. Trying to go see my 94-year-old mom more often. She lives 2 hours away and is in very good health, but she misses the family who does not make the trip. I talk to her every day, and sometimes she cries about missing the big family gatherings. I take care of my sick husband, but for sure, I am going to make time for the trip this week. Story 25. My friends do not like my girlfriend. Trust me, she is a very sweet and funny person to be with, but due to some initial friction between one of my friends and her, gradually everyone started to dislike her. We are now in a relationship. She is really great, and I am very happy with her, but my friends are ignoring me, not talking to me, and not caring about me. The worst part is we all live in a hostel, so I cannot just simply ignore it. I literally cried for half an hour today. I am missing my friends. Even though it is my first time away from home, I felt comfortable because of them. I cannot see them not caring about me. Story 26. That I'm pregnant with my first child and my grandparents who passed away a few years ago will never know my baby. I know it's a part of life and lots of kids never know their great-grandparents or their parents' loved ones who died before they were born. But every milestone in this process has been bittersweet because I couldn't call my Grammy and tell her about it, or know my poppy was in his woodshed making some kind of elaborate chair or rocking horse for the baby. Story 27. Just the end of a marriage unexpectedly for me after being tortured willfully by my partner, her family, and her friends. And I am not even sure if I will fully recover from the shock of her doing this. Story 28. Anxiety and extreme burnout stemming from the loss of a well-paying job and having to take a significant pay cut that allows me to pay only my bills, with no extra income for hobbies or fun. This economy is frustrating. Story 29. My job takes up so much of my time, and I'm always too tired to use what time I do get for anything useful. It's a seriously vicious circle, and unfortunately, I don't know how to get out. Life, I guess it sucks, and then it's over. Story 30. The struggle of chasing money to finally live a comfortable life that will likely never happen and remembering to use time wisely by investing it into family instead of personal hobbies. Story 31. My daughters, two suffer from mental illness, and one suffers from terrible endometriosis and autism. They say you're only as happy as your unhappiest child. It's true. I love them so much and would do anything to take away their pain. Story 32. The fear that I won't find real happiness, no matter what I do or how successful I am. The fear that the things that are supposed to work out simply won't. Story 33. The love of my life being so far away from me, when I want nothing more than to wake up every morning and fall asleep every night next to him, pinch his sexy little ass whenever he walks past me, wrap my arms around him from behind and kiss his neck when he sits around, curl up on his lap when he watches television or plays a video game, surprise him naked in the shower, make love with him wherever and whenever we feel like, and have him cuddle his cute face on my chest when we are lying in bed and I hold him close and run my fingers tenderly through his hair whenever he needs comfort or is just tired after endless hours of passionate intimacy. I miss you by my side, babe. Story 34. That I keep talking myself into relationships. If I like someone just a little, I build up the situation into a relationship without the guy knowing. Then I get disappointed when they don't follow through with my expectations that they have no clue about. My poor heart is always my victim. Story 35. The loss of community. After I got out of the Marines, I just kind of lost my tribe. It's the isolation and lack of real friendships that haunt me almost daily. I really wish I had stayed in or just not come back from a deployment. Story 36. Honestly, too many things are heartbreaking in this cold world. Mothers and children dying of starvation or torture. Young Americans who are well-educated struggling to earn a living. Wars overseas. The hurricane that's about to wreak havoc on Western Florida yet again. It goes on and on. If I could be so lucky as to have only one thing to break my heart. Story 37. The fact that transgender people are denied their own existence by the government in a huge number of states, including my own to a degree, is absolutely shameful and horrific. The way roughly half the country talks about transgender individuals is erasing their existence and borderline genocidal. Story 38. My sweet, precious baby cat died on the table during surgery to remove a tumor. He adored me and I adored him. He was the best cat that ever lived, and now he's gone.